So the way you do one thing is the way that you're gonna do everything. Today at work, I had a task of sanding um, ivories and the piano keys, sanding them and polishing them. And it's a very tedious task and very sort of, one that sort of shifts you into autopilot. And so, you have to start at, there's 88, well, there's less than 88, but all the white keys that you have to do, all the white keys that are ivory, you have to sand them. You have to start at 220, go all the way up to 800 grit sandpaper. And each key, is a lot of strokes. It's very tiring on the hands. You have to do it by hand and this sort of thing. But it gave me an idea for this video because there would be a tendency to want to half-ass it because, you perceive it to be a very tedious, boring, uninspiring task that is very monotonous and, sort of would ignite that aspect of your lower self that would assign negative connotations to it and obscure your perception and align you with vice as it relates to the task at hand. But I was reminding myself that, even though, in this case, even though it was a tedious task, there is something very satisfying about giving your all to something like that and doing it right and seeing the end product that comes out, glistening white and polished and shiny and smooth, and knowing that you did the right job and the job to the best of your ability and not just half-assing it, trying to get it over with, not taking any pride in the work and anything like that. So, but there are tasks that are monotonous and, there is no sort of end product to appreciate like that. But even in these tasks, we have to do it and give ourselves our all because, like I said, and as has been said, the way you do one thing is the way you're going to do everything. So if you get in the habit of half-assing things and approaching them with a spirit of ingratitude and, a consciousness level that is unable to extract the, blessing and the virtue out of it, then that's the way you're going to do everything, because you're going to get into that habit and then it's going to become your default setting. It's going to infiltrate into your subconscious, and before you know it, everything you do is going to be that way. And in that sense, it's not going to be worth doing at all because you're not doing it with your full potential. You're not allowing your full potential to manifest and the flowering of your consciousness to take place. So you're diminishing yourself and you're depressing your own spirit when you approach things that appear to be tedious and semi-pointless in that way. So that gave me the idea for that video, and we have to be cognizant of these things because we want to do things. How can you do the great things if you can't even do the seemingly smallest of things with giving your all to them? So you have to develop that foundation so when you confront the big things, or what you perceive to be the big things, you have in your arsenal mastered the self-discipline and the ability and the virtue you've integrated with to be able to quiet the false consciousness that's seeking to diminish your potential and your abilities, and then apply the full flowering of your consciousness to these big things. So that's the reason why you want to get into the habit of doing that, because, again, the way you do one thing is the way that you're going to do everything, because you're going to develop that habit. A lot of it's going to be subconscious, then it's going to become your default, and it's very hard to break habits. It's much easier to develop habits, virtuous, better habits in the first place, than it is to, even though it seems like taking the easy route is less effort and all of these sorts of things, you're only harming yourself, because the effort it's going to take later on to set it right is going to be tremendous. And a lot of people don't have that discipline and that, that level of spiritual vigor and mental vigor and all of these things to undo these wrongs, because they haven't developed themselves in the first place, and their forsaking of developing themselves has led to, that that situation in the first place with the lapsed and unmanifested potential. So I just wanted to encourage everybody out there to think about this and see how you can apply it in your life to the things that you do and may have done and will have to do that you perceive to be trivial and tedious, but approach them the right way so you can approach other things the right way. Check out my other videos on this channel, like this video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate that. Leave your comments, your suggestions, your feedback. If you want my advice or my perspective on anything, I'd be happy to lend some uplifting words if I can. And check out my other channel, Ray Rivera. There's art and music on that channel. And pay close attention to the name of this channel as it relates to the suffering and the perceived suffering, trials, tribulations, and things that you may be confronting on a daily basis that we all have to confront and that is necessary. And think about why I named it that. I explain it in my other videos. And thanks for watching.